Segue.
I'm already assuming it's going to be a bad seg. That's a good seg.
Oh,
I love it.
these.
I love it. Okay, so, all right. Well, now do you want to seg into our guest?
Yes. Speaking of danger on display.
Awful. Not even trying. Fucking well done, boys. This works.
This now gives me an excuse to purposely do bad ones.
Well, yeah, purposely. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our favorites is back. The wonderful actor and best-selling author and motivational speaker and the creator of the Emmy-winning Amazon Prime series, currently season 2 airing, Studio City. I love it very much. He executive produces it while starring in it, along with his way better half, Michelle Vega. He's also written Success Factor X, right next to me. I love it. Way of the Cobra, ladies and gentlemen. Great self-help book. It's getting a sequel coming very soon. And, of course, and Sean, you'll be happy to know, we ran a clip at the beginning of the show. Oh, I reckon.
Not sure if they can hear us.
Can you hear? Can you hear us? See, he's as tech retarded as I am. I'll continue the intro while he's figuring it out. There's an unmute button, and even I figured it out. I will continue with the fact that he is also on the season 5 of Cobra Kai, guys. Finally.
Are they already on season 5?
Oh, yes.
Crazy.
Is he good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
You missed my long-winded but plug-heavy introduction, brother.
Oh my God, I felt like my parents trying to figure out the answering machine when they first got one.
Oh, yeah.
Just a disaster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
How are
can't
ya?
even make fun of you because I'm the guy that forgets to do the unmute button for like 20 minutes. So, yeah.
Good to see you both.
Hi.
Bit too
I
long.
love it.
It is.
Joe.
I'm so excited for Way of the Cobra sequel. Heard that you've already finished writing it. It's already with the editors, yes?
Yeah, no, it's with the editors. It's being formatted and it's going off to the printer hopefully in the next 2 weeks because I have an event at the Barnes & Noble in Los Angeles December 10th. So I will have books by December 10th, one way or the other.
That scares the shit out of me. The older I
Yeah,
get,
me too.
the worse I get with deadlines. I used to be like Captain Deadline, believe it or not. In fact, I think that should be my superhero name. But the older I get, the worse I'm getting. I procrastinate like a millennial now, and it's very difficult for me. So that's
I kind of do the same thing. I like to have my back against the wall. You know what I mean? And it really forces me to, so I operate well with deadlines.
Well, we've also got Success Factor X sitting right next to me. That's a fucking great book, and they did it. And I love how they did it like a textbook in school too. But it's basically, first-person accounts of people that are better than we are.
By the way,
successful than we are.
That's for sure, right?
Yes.
Bill's copy is filthy, so I think he's read it a whole bunch.
I have. Yeah, I got it.
I'm impressed.
I got
I'm
it
really
straight from my
Bill.
coffee table, and here's the problem. I'm not a duster. Never been a duster. Yeah, I'm not a clean individual, per se. But that's another great one. And which one am I leaving out? Well, also, I forgot to mention the 20-plus year stint on Bold and the Beautiful. But we got to go quickly back to Mike Barnes coming back into my life. We ran your debut scene, which was fucking amazing on a lot of levels, and I'll tell you why. Because you're not only I love that your character has changed to the level that it has, but you still get, not only do you win in a furniture store with your old enemy, Mr. LaRussa, but you end up also fighting the bad guy in Karate Kid 2. Which is amazing. And
yeah.
And then
it was an amazing experience, Bill. I mean, it was really crazy. One of the big things that I asked the guys, the big three, the creators, I said, it's 30 some years later. I really hope that we're going to be able to show this guy as someone that's, had some growth one way or the other. And it's not just this sort of unidimensional character that it was in the original film. And to their credit, they really came up with something that was out of the box. And, the other thing I asked him was, I said, look, humor is at the core of Cobra Kai, and let's figure out a way for this guy to be funny too.
I love it.
They came up with some great stuff.
You fucking succeeded, and here's my vision on where this is going. You are going to end up being the Bob Odenkirk of this show. So this show is Breaking Bad. You are on your way to a Mike Barnes version of Better Call Saul, my friend, because I want to know everything about this furniture company. I want to know everything about your progression as far as Joanne loves to say, doing the work between what had happened in 1989 versus now. The whole, as much as I hate you, you eat up the screen.
This could be a great origin story for Barnes & Noble.
I love that. I love that. I think it's great. And look, Mike Barnes at the end of season 5 has helped himself to a Rembrandt, which has got to be worth tens of millions of dollars. So who knows? He might set up a chain of furniture / dojos. Anything's possible.
Here's my one critique. There's a lot of aspects to the show that, of course, I love because look at me. I am their audience. But so Johnny Lawrence is sort of, he peaks at high school. We all know those guys. And as a result, still doing the headbands, still doing the red leather jacket, members only coats, still doing the band T-shirts that you and I both recognize that were big before Joanne was born. And yet, obviously, my Barnes has become successful, but what I really wanted them to give you, the blonde spiky hair. I'm surprised that they did not go with that just for that reason of harkening back. Like, even if you were forced to do the wig work where they give you the bald cap and all that, but like the 80s blonde spikes, I'm surprised they didn't do that.
That was my homage to Dolph Lundgren after seeing Rocky IV when they asked me what I wanted to do with my hair.
I love it.
That was my best thinking. Yeah.
Well, and Joe, you know what they were looking for in the casting call that Sean eventually nailed? You're gonna love this. A white Mike Tyson type.
Wow.
That's what they said. A 17-year-old white Mike Tyson.
I've never heard that sentence before.
That makes me want to watch all of the other auditions of the people who didn't get it to see how they interpreted that.
You know what's really crazy is I was doing an interview for Entertainment Tonight on the set of Bold and the Beautiful about 6-8 weeks ago. And I said, you guys, this is so crazy because when I got the role of Mike Barnes at this open call, I said, Entertainment Tonight actually interviewed me. And the guy who was doing the interview said, well, we have a pretty vast vault of stuff that we keep. We're going to find that material. And to their credit, they found the exact moment when I'm in the line with like 2,000 hopefuls.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, when John Avildsen comes up to me, you can see me introducing myself and giving the name of my agent. And then I go inside the soundstage and Entertainment Tonight's interviewing me again, and they asked me to do some karate. My voice is totally different because it's 35 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, so it's on YouTube, Entertainment Tonight, Sean Kanan, Karate Kid 3. And it was nuts because what's crazy though is we all have ideas in our head about how things transpired in the past. And for years, I've been talking about what that experience was like. And then I actually got to see it. I hadn't seen this footage in probably 3 decades.
That is absolutely nuts. You know what that reminds me of? I was watching an interview with Jeff Bridges, and he would always talk about how his wife of, and you've got a similarly successful marriage, but his wife of like 50 years, that he met her on the set of a movie, and she was like, I don't know, she was like craft services or something like that, and he first like hit on her, and she wasn't having it and rejected him. He wasn't as big as he was now. Some dude on that set took a picture of that exact moment and sent it to him 40 years later. And in the interview, he shows a picture of when he first meets his wife. That is kind of the equivalent. Like the fact that you saw a video of a very big moment in your life that you did not know existed.
That is so cool.
That is mind-blowing.
It was incredible. I mean, and it was pretty much how I remembered it, to be honest, because it was such an indelible experience in my life. And, there's John Avildsen who won the Academy Award for Rocky.
Oh my God, we got it!
Yes, sir. I'm with Ambrose.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So when I went in to the soundstage,
I gotta tell you, man, there are a lot of people that are very jealous of how well you've held on to your hair right now. I have to look at this, dude. You look like you're 10.
Glorious rug or what? The golden helmet.
Oh my God, unfucking believable. That is mind blowing.
And look at this. This is where they asked me to do some karate. I mean,
pretty well.
I hadn't seen this.
Funny thing
Listen to your voice.
Instructor
did all the choreography for Karate Kid 1 and 2.
Have you gone through
Demra,
puberty yet?
And
Right?
since I moved out here, this is something.
Yeah,
I'm
how
gonna give a
old are
try.
you
I'm
here?
excited
Do you
to be
know?
here. You want a little
Yeah, I think I'm like
demonstration of what I
22
can
years
do?
old.
Okay.
Boy, you were like,
Yeah, just-
although,
Look at that.
yeah, see, you had some muscle.
Oh,
I don't
you're
know.
wearing the right
the
outfit.
Fucking 80s pants are great. Oh, yeah. I got fucking.
Well, just a young boy with a dream in his heart, you know?
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
Unfucking believable. That is mind blowing. I'm excited about this, and it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's your past.
So, Sean, obviously you do, you've said in interviews that you do most of your own stunts for
I
this.
can read them all, yeah.
So, how,
I try to do as many as I can. I do.
Sure.
I kind of draw the line at fire. There will not be any me wearing a fire suit getting set on fire. I'm not particularly fond of heights, although I've done a couple jumps. But when it comes to the martial arts stuff, I try to do as much as I can. I did most of my stuff in Cobra Kai. We had one thing that we were just crushed for time, and they didn't have time to teach me the move. And so they did have a stunt guy do that. But other than that, I did everything.
Yeah, I have always said, Bill knows, I tell Bill this all the time, you're a more sensible Tom Cruise when it comes to stunts.
Yeah, you're
Not
not
my bank
rappelling
account.
down. You're not rappelling down the tallest building in
Obviously,
the world.
he saw in your audition, I mean, like, you had some training and some preparation, but, like, how much, like, did you do before you ever got the job on Karate Kid 3? Like,
I'd studied Shotokan karate pretty seriously for, I would say, 3 or 4 years, at least, before I had that audition.
Oh, great.
And and I've continued to study off and on over the years. I still do. So at 55 years old, I was happy that I was able to kind of dust off the proverbial black sleeveless gi and still be able to do some things, because it definitely gets a little more challenging. But leading up to doing Cobra Kai, I got back into training pretty significantly so that I'd be able to do, most of what they asked me to do.
And you know how he heard about it? His sensei was Pat Morita's stunt double on the
That's correct.
movies.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And by the way, Pat Morita was born in America and didn't speak Japanese, but Sean Sensei actually was from Japan. Had probably a more believable Japanese accent than Pat Morita.
That's exactly. Yeah, Pat Morita sounded like he was a comedian from the Catskills.
Yes.
And my sensei Fumio Demura, sounded exactly like Mr. Miyagi. And it was so cool working with Pat, because I knew Pat as Arnold from Happy Days long before he was ever Mr. Miyagi.
Without a doubt. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Did he do a Japanese accent in Happy Days? I forget.
No.
Which, by the way, when you think about it, how fucked up that is, because, all right, so Happy Days takes place pretty much about less than 10 years after World War II. And then that's an odd casting choice.
Right. It was ahead of its time. Very edgy.
Yeah, and I was listening to a podcast you were on relatively recently, and you made a really good point. And I was talking with Joe about it before the show, and it was Karate Kid 3, particularly with the character of Pat Morita. It gets to something that a lot of movies of its ilk get to, where it goes a little into cartoon land with everyone sort of becoming a superhero. And in the case of Pat Morita kicking everyone's ass at the end, I think it was when you were on with the actor who played John Kreese on his show. And I've certainly noticed that with Indiana Jones. The fourth one, the thing that we loved about Indiana Jones was that he was vulnerable. Would get it's not the years, it's the mileage. But by the fourth one, he's in a nuclear explosion and has a couple scratches. I thought that was so true. There are so many movies where that has happened. Where
I think it definitely happened with Hannibal Lecter. Became somewhat of a superhero by the time I think the third one that rolled around. But
cuts off his own arm and hops a first class trip right afterwards. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, you're totally right. And I never really thought about it that way, but that absolutely happens. But yeah, it was fun to see you back. But and again, you didn't hear my long-winded introduction, but Studio City, season 2 right now available on Amazon Prime. What's going on with season 3?
So we're really excited. We have an offer that's going to allow us to take Studio City worldwide, putting it on multiple platforms, and we are in the process of getting that deal finalized. So my sincerest hope is that in the next 60 days, hopefully, fingers crossed, Studio City is going to be available for everyone all over the world, and we will be going back into production and bringing lots of new shows.
It's an amazing dramedy about the inside and outside of soap opera work. There's lots of fun twists and turns. And again, for attention spans like myself and most millennials, the longest episode is probably 17 minutes, I would assume. Yeah, which is always great. One thing that all right, I'll do this briefly just because you're good at advice. Jo is a great actress, but here's the other problem. Well, here's the problem. She's also very lazy. I have found that a good move that Sean did was, as far as putting more branches on his career, learned a second language, and he learned Italian. Now you are half greasy Dago.
Well,
and so
I went to Italy this summer. And you know when you're really excited, when you're planning a trip and you're like, I'm going to learn the language.
Yeah.
So I started, I think it's called Duolingo or one of those free ones.
Yeah.
And I started it and I did okay. La mela is an apple.
Assolutamente. Dimmi qualcosa in Italiano.
Okay, see, I didn't
No
get
clue. She had no clue.
Apple.
No clue. I saw right in her face that she had no idea what you just said.
It was like when I tried to learn piano when I was younger. As soon as I had to start using the second hand,
right,
and it had to do something different than the first hand, it's like, I have to conjugate a verb? Why? No, I'm okay. So, but no, you're right. I should expand on those special skills
really
part of my
good
resume.
Thing. I can't, I think studying languages is something that everybody should do. I've been studying Mandarin for the last 2 years, and you want to talk about a humbling experience. It is just, because there's nothing to relate it to. I mean, there's so many Italian words that actually sound like certain English words, but there's nothing in Mandarin that you can kind of anchor it to. So you just have to learn it, and it's really challenging. But when you start hearing something and you're like, wow, I know what that means, it's a pretty amazing feeling.
Yeah, but you know what's also funny about that? And I go back to that. Remember we showed that video of John Cena apologizing in Mandarin?
Yes.
Everyone's seen it. So here's the thing. French, sexy.
Yeah.
Italian, sexy fucking language.
Yeah.
Mandarin, particularly when it comes out of someone like this big action hero, former wrestler John Cena, not a sexy language.
Not really.
Yeah, no. Not really, yeah. It's hard to sound cool with the kind of inflections required in Mandarin. Italian, pretty easy.
It does make sense. I think especially for you to learn other languages just because of the type of roles I think that you're offered or would audition for, right? It's like it could be like villains who are fighters or spies or whatever. And so, of course, they would know multiple languages.
I think that you're absolutely right about that. I mean, look, Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world. And I very much want to go to China at some point. But the other thing, too, is it's kind of like mental gymnastics, I mean, especially for an actor having to learn voluminous amounts of dialogue, working on a soap opera, I think it feeds into some of the same muscles that are required mentally to learn a lot of dialogue, learning a new language. So,
Oh, well, and speaking of, here's how you do speaking of correctly.
Okay.
I want you to pay attention.
Go ahead.
Speaking of the amount of dialogue you've got to do in soaps, you are very good, and it's because of the writer in you, of writing a lot of your own dialogue, which I can certainly see on soap operas, them allowing that, because A, what you're going to write is going to be better, and B, they've got, it makes them have to do less work. I'm wondering, what's a line that you couldn't believe you got away with, and also a line that they absolutely put the kibosh on?
They haven't put the kibosh on too many. Even a couple of weeks ago, I just ad-libbed the line. I said, "Does it look like I've got dumbass stamped on my forehead?" And they let it go. They're really great.
Really?
Love it. They're wonderful to me about allowing me to, put all my little Seanisms into it. And I'll tell you, if you're able to write, and if you've got a production team that trusts you and is willing to do that, it is an enormous benefit. Where you can really take what might be pretty good and really elevate it to being excellent. And so I try and use that opportunity as much as I can.
See, I don't want to make this a whole Oprah's dream board thing for Joe, but I hate to say it, you are a good writer. So that is a fucking mental note right there.
No,
but again,
I'd rather say other people's words. I know what I like and what I want to do, and it's not my own stuff.
I don't know. I've seen a portion of the script you've written, and I was very impressed. But again, there's the follow through, Sean.
Yeah.
The woman has zero follow through. You heard her Italian.
Joe, all I can tell you is that I talk about this in my book.
Okay.
Talent can be a real detriment, which sounds counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But when talent doesn't hustle and when talent doesn't work hard, hustle will beat talent most of the time. I mean,
it's so
a
true.
lot of people who are talented think that that's enough and they get lazy with it. And I've certainly been guilty of that myself. And it wasn't really until I recognized and said, whatever gifts have been bestowed upon me is it's a gift from God and everything, but it only works if you grind and if you hustle. And that's when things sort of began to come together a little more for me.
Here's the issue, right? I'm talented and I'm beautiful, which makes
You
me
are.
doubly lazy.
Don't fucking give her that. Don't give her that.
It just really makes me want to take a back seat. You know what I mean? Just
Well,
come
maybe,
to me,
maybe
good
a
fortune.
behind the camera job would be better for you. I don't know. Maybe something behind the camera.
That is the most.
Where you could just order people around.
You've gotten the
That's
most.
for ugly people, Sean.
You've gotten her to say the most on-brand thing Joanne has ever said on the show. Well, and by the way, to this end, you're an idea man, and this was his initial idea for reintroducing Barnes to Cobra Kai. And it's like, I like the furniture store aspect, but this is so much better. He was going to be an anger management counselor.
Oh, nice.
And Ralph Macchio and Billy Zabka, the leads, were both forced court ordered to go to one. And he comes in and he's the anger management counselor.
Why didn't that
Why
pan
didn't
out?
they do that?
I don't know, but I think that the guys who created the show got a pretty good handle on what works. I mean, I just read that Cobra Kai season 5 just eclipsed 2 billion minutes of being watched, which is
Unfucking
just
believable.
astronomical, right?
Wow.
And so I really I didn't feel the guys needed a whole lot of my suggestions. So I thought I was in good hands.
Well, I'll tell you what, as a viewer, I preferred yours, and I still like what they did, but that's fucking brilliant. That's
just
such
'cause you're
a good
fan
idea.
Of puka shells and Birkenstocks. You wanted to see me come in looking like, kind of like a granola hippie, anger management counselor, which would have been a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
Oh my God!
maybe
it
season 6.
It would have been so great if you had super lawn hair and the little
Right?
bun in the back, and oh my God.
Yes.
That would've
Although
been
I can
awesome.
see because obviously I always think from a producer sensibility, I don't barely know what the word means, but I can see them being like, no one's gonna recognize him. Like it'll be if they hippied you out that much, they're like no one would know.
Or there would be those conspiracy theories like, that's not the same actor,
But such a fucking good idea. Well, I mean, he could always venture out. You don't have to stay with the furniture gang the entire time. But I love
Well,
it
look,
so much.
there's no more furniture stores, so I don't know what Mike Barnes is going to do. They haven't officially announced season 6 yet. Fingers crossed that I'll be able to do something on that. But if nothing else happens, and if I weren't to return for season 6, it has still been such a blessing and such an amazing experience to be able to get another bite at the apple after 34 years.
No kidding. That just
Incredible.
doesn't happen to many people.
I do think it speaks a lot to just nostalgia. Everyone's so big on that now. We're seeing a lot of
It's called getting old, Joe. You'll experience it.
Right?
reboots, reimaginings of shows.
Yeah, I think one of
yeah.
the most successful things that the big 3 have done is that they've created, they straddle the fence between 2 age demographics, between the young kids,
Yes.
who are maybe just getting introduced to the Karate Kid universe, or may have even fall in love with Cobra Kai and didn't even watch the original movies.
Yeah.
And then, the guys like me and Bill who like it for nostalgia purposes.
Yes.
But what it's done is create a magnet where, a lot of times parents and kids can't find any common ground, especially when kids are teenagers. And the show effectively acts as a magnet, pulling them together and gives them something to do together. And I think it's a really positive thing.
You are absolutely right. And I'll tell you what this entire Karate Kid universe has done masterfully, and the Star Wars universe has failed horribly, and you've heard me bitch about this a million times, I was so excited when the last 3 big ones came out, and like something that you and I as kids never thought would happen. Harrison Ford, Princess Leia, Mark Hamill, they're all back. Okay, and they could, not only did they mishandle them, but they brought in this new generation characters that the new generation didn't give a shit about. They took a big old dump on our past, and they basically shit on the whole thing. Whereas the Karate Kid universe has done it perfectly. I like all these kids. I am interested in these characters, and I'm the old fuddy-duddy that only cares about the old guard. But these are interesting younger characters, and Star Wars could not do that.
Well, I'm definitely partial to the Karate Kid universe. I think they did it very, very well. As somebody that lives in Hollywood and works in this industry, I will not besmirch either George Lucas or Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Wait, you don't think that that's a good career move? You don't think that's a good career move?
Flame alive that someday I'll be a Jedi Knight. But no, I think they did it very well in Cobra Kai.
Well, and here's what a bad friend I am. Okay. I'm sure I've seen Sean's 15-inch long abdominal scar, and I just thought he'd had a cesarean.
I wasn't sure where you're going with that.
Yeah. 15 inches.
You were actually hoping I was going somewhere else with it.
I was, right? In my dreams.
And I texted him about this injury that almost fucking killed him on the set of the. Yeah. But here's the thing: he's talked about it a lot, and I now realize that. But I had no idea that he had this internal bleeding on the set and quite literally almost died. I have some questions about it that I believe you have not been asked yet, because you've been asked everything about this, and I just did my research late. But if you could briefly, basically, if you want to just say, it was internal bleeding. Yeah, it wasn't even a fight scene.
The long and the truncated version of the story is this: after filming for about 2.5 weeks, we broke for Christmas vacation. And I was going to Vegas with a friend, because that's where every young boy spends Christmas holidays. And so I was having some significant pain in my left thigh, which I thought was from all the karate. So I was taking a lot of aspirin. Long story short, it was 1988 Christmas Day. I was at the Dunes Casino, and I passed out from blood loss. The pain in my thigh was, the internal bleeding was dripping on my femoral artery, and it was causing me pain. The aspirin exacerbated the bleeding, and they rushed me to the hospital and told me they had to do emergency surgery. And I thought they meant Monday, and they meant in 15 minutes. Oh, and, my God. I woke up, and I had a 15-inch scar in my abdomen, and I had fought my way back into life, and now I had to figure out a way to fight my way to staying in the film. And initially they decided they were going to use a stunt man and shoot around me and all this stuff, which is a horrendous option to be faced with in a film. And I started working out with a guy from the Rams, when the Rams, the first time they were in Los Angeles in the late 80s. And not even slowly but surely, fairly quickly, I started healing and getting stronger, although the wound wasn't completely healed. And I wound up doing all my own stunts in Karate Kid 3, with the exception of one that had to do with me driving a car across train tracks. I'm not doing that one.
Yeah, don't tempt fate.
Right?
Well, and also this injury lasted a long time. I mean, there was an incident, I think when you were doing The Outsiders or something, where the stitches came open or something, right?
Yeah, so, when you have an injury on your abdomen, every which way you move, it turns it and twists it in one way or the other. So if you're not getting bed rest, it's really hard.
Look at Joe's face.
After doing Karate Kid 3, I got tapped to do The Outsiders by Francis Ford Coppola. It was his TV series. And I'll never forget, David Arquette, who was one of the actors, came up and gave me a big bear hug from behind, and it just popped it right open, and it took forever to heal.
And you
Yeah,
were
it was-
young. So I'm trying to think of, like, if that were to happen to me now, it wouldn't heal for 15
Like,
years.
God, if I need a cesarean, if I ever have a kid, good God.
Yeah, I have a lot of empathy for any woman who's gone through that because
No
I
kidding. Well, and
have a
so,
baby
all
on
right, here's a
Kanan.
question that I believe has not really been touched on too much, but you tell me if I'm wrong. Basically, he gets a call from the studio after this has all happened. And
Yeah.
as you've said many times, no flowers, no balloons. They tell him he's got 12 days or he's going to be recast.
Yeah.
Then he, goes through all this and they still allow him his own stunts. I am wondering how different that whole scenario would have been were this have happened in 2022.
Oh, for sure.
Versus back then.
It probably would
You
have
were
been very
treated like
different.
shit.
Yeah, I kind of was. You know what's crazy is I actually did have an attorney and filed a workman's comp suit because that's what I was told to file.
Oh, as you
And
should.
I got like $1,500. I mean, it was obscene.
Oh.
And it wasn't handled well, my doing that stunt. And it wasn't that I was looking for a big payday. I was just I had a lot of righteous indignation. I mean, I really did almost lose my life, and I really was not treated very well. But I'll tell you, it was a good lesson on multiple fronts. The first of which, I wouldn't wish that experience on anybody, but it revealed a part of my character at a very young age that I didn't know existed. And I don't know if it's always there, but at least in that moment in time, when the chips were down and I had to fight for my life, I did. And I came out on top. That was the first thing. The second thing is it taught me the lesson that it is called show business, not show friends.
Yeah.
And, I learned very early that, with rare exception, although it does happen, your value to any production is predicated on the value that you bring to the production. And if you can't bring that value to the production, your personal wants, needs, and emotions are not real important. But instead of allowing that to make me feel jaded and cynical, I learned the lesson and chose to attach the story that, I went through this thing, I overcame it. And now anytime in my life when something really seems difficult and hard, I ask myself, was it as hard as, being told that they didn't know if they could save my life and having to go through that surgery and rehabilitate myself? Probably not.
It's a very good attitude that I don't think either of us would have. We're miserable people. Well, I guess real quickly, there was one. We always send stupid stories.
By the way, our time is off.
Yes.
We're at 1:04 right now.
Oh, we are? Okay, God, see, time escapes me when you're on. Well, listen, buddy, give us all of your plugs and promotions that I think you already didn't hear us cover when you were trying to figure out the mute button. I will say this. Here's my prediction. Apparently, it looks like Way of the Cobra might be a trilogy. I bet here's what I'm thinking you're already planning. The third one will be on relationships. Because, again, even though she's your way better half, you've got a pretty good track record on that.
You are exactly right. The third
I totally
installment,
guessed that.
Yeah, the next one, which is coming out in December, is called Way of the Cobra, Welcome to the Kumite. And the tagline for that book is Conquering Your Greatest Opponent, which of course is you. And how do you do that? Well, you do it by having a metaphoric death every day. You're literally, allowing the person you are yesterday to die so you can be reemerge as a better, more evolved version of yourself the next day.
That.
I love that a
Yeah.
lot, and I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of acronyms. Cobra,
Yep.
character optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. I love, and that's the only way I can remember anything is if I make it an acronym.
Yeah.
So
Me
that
too. I
works.
do the same thing.
Yeah.
So the third one's going to be, it's going to be a kind of he said, she said, relationship book in the form of Way of the Cobra. And as far as stuff, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram at Sean.Kanan or at Sean Kanan on Twitter. And you can catch me on The Bold and the Beautiful on CBS Monday through Friday. We just had our 35th anniversary,
Unreal.
which is absolutely amazing. And I'm just so honored to be playing Deacon Sharp, which is a character I've played since 2001. And watch Cobra Kai. If you haven't seen it, please watch Cobra Kai on Netflix. It's, I think, the best season yet.
I tailed off halfway through season 4, and then I binge watched this weekend, and even the dog I'm doggy sitting for was transfixed. It was really weird, actually. She was like actually watching It was the first time I've ever seen a dog watch TV before, but
Yeah.
and it was the one time she wasn't bothering me, which was great too. Well, thank you so much, buddy. Please let us know when you're actually back in New York.
Of course I will. You know what? I love talking to both of you. Wishing you all the success in the world, you guys. Until we meet again, all right?
Thanks.
Take care.
Best to Michelle, buddy. Thank you so much.
Bye.
He's everything I want to be.